was a bailiff, and he would say, the character was supposed to morning, everybody, won't you look alive? Because, they need you for the legal jive and all this. And I'm just sitting there rehearsing. I'm like, oh, God, I can't do this stuff. So I was like, okay, make yourself do it. So I do it, and, it's nonsensical. A bailiff would do that. They'd throw him out. He'd get fired, and what are you doing, you idiot? So I did it.
Was this for Night Court?
No, it was for another show that I think only had aired 5 times, and this was like the 4th episode. So there you go, you got canceled. But anyway, so they had the assistant to the assistant read me, and this is just like a entry level job. That's when I go straight to callbacks. But back then you had to go to 2-3 auditions.
Sometimes you still do have to go to the assistant.
Right.
I've been in rooms where there's 7.
Right,
and I'm going, really?
Yeah, exactly. And
you in 2nd grade? Okay.
Right. So, what was that?
I'm sorry. So you were in the room, and you were reading for the assistant.
Oh yeah, assistant. And so she looks at me, and then she says, "You're just not quite there yet.
I'm sorry.
You need to keep working and getting better." And I'm looking, and I had already done Repo Man, and I had done another movie called Killing Time, and I had killed it, and I was like, okay, thanks. And I'm walking out, and I'm pissed. I'm pissed, and it's a long walk on Radford, and I'm looking across Radford, and Sally Powers, who was casting Hill Street Blues, is right across the street. And I'm like, and that woman has never called me in. This is stupid. That woman doesn't know crap about acting, and I'm really mad. And I had this demo reel that the other movie had done called Killing Time and Repo Man. I had cut scenes on it. And Sally Powers had a do not come and drop anything off policy. Okay. Don't come in unannounced, blah, 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 and we will get your name and blah, blah, to make you mud, right? But I was so mad and so determined. I walked across the street. I walked in, and I go, "Hi, I'm giving this to Sally Powers." And she said, "Is she expecting?" I said, "No, but she'll take it." And she says, "I don't think she will." I said, "Ask her." And she looks at me like, "You want to do this?" And I said, "Yes." So she looks at me like, "Stupid idiot," and she walks upstairs. I turn around, there's 2 actors looking to come in to read, and they're looking at me like, "Dude, you're an idiot.
Yeah, you will never
you're
work
never working here."
Yeah.
She comes down, she goes, "Hi, Del. Sally said she will take that." Blah, blah, blah. Okay, thanks. Well, then I got this role on Hill Street Blues.
You mean then she called you in?
I called in, and I got the role. I got in for the audition, and then I got the role. And it was a great role, and I loved the role. But I was so nervous about it coming off good. And I knew it was a beautiful, protracted scene with Dennis Franz and a guy named Will Nye. And we get tied up, and they didn't, at a certain point, and I wouldn't do that. Sorry, crew members who were there, because I wouldn't do this nowadays. I would just have them spritz me. But it was supposed to be hot. And we're in coats. We're inside, and we're in coats because it's winter outside. So he just put us in our coats, so we're supposed to be sweating. But Dennis, not so much, because he's bunts. Right? He's a cool customer, but me, I'm sweating. So I said, "Can we just turn off the AC?" And you could see all the crew guys go,
"Oh, God, I know.
One of those guys."
Yeah.
Now I wouldn't do it, but I did. So they said, "Okay." And they obliged me. And then, so nice. They obliged me. So then they went and they shot me, and I was down. And I just thought, I'm going to pull blood, this coat, I'm going to get up, it's a mess. They just have to shoot a couple of shots. They had to call lunch. They just had a couple of shots of me and the feet and just a tight shot. And then they just want me there to be there for the guys, actors, which is fine. Yeah. I'm fine to do that. I'm getting paid. I'm fine to do that. So they said, "Okay, we're going to lunch." I said, "No, just leave me in the chair. It's okay." They said, "What about lunch?" And I said, "Can you guys get lunch and just put it in the fridge in my room, please, for me?" And I just hear, and they go, "You're going to lie here?" And I said, "Yeah, it's easier than that. Like, look how beautiful it looks. The pool of blood's perfect. Like, if I get up, it's going to mess all that up." And and then one of the guys goes, "Are you a filmmaker?" I go, "Yeah, I am." He goes, "Okay." And so they did that. But I remember they were thinking, what a weirdo. But what is happening is that gets back to production. Because I did, when the episode aired, the second episode, I was going to take a full-page ad out in the trades. Yeah. And this is something to young actors, to never miss opportunities like this one. Dick Wolf had wrote the episode. He was a young writer. You were in. Yeah. Right. He was a young writer. And I pretended to be my manager. "Hi, this is Clifford Ray. I'm calling. I want my client is considering taking out full-page ads in Variety and Hollywood Reporter, but we need to see the episode first. Can he come in and take a look at it? Because then we'll pull the trigger on him. We already have them all laid out, all the designs ready." "Sure." So I came in, and there's Dick Wolf, young Dick Wolf. But again, me, young, worried, did I do a good job? He watches the episode with me. And I was like, this is good, but I'm so friggin' shy and unwilling to own my good work. He says, what do you think of that? And I was like, yeah, it's good. Instead of just going, wow, man, great, we did great. I should have said, that's great writing, man. Very nice to meet you. I hope I work with you. No, I'm just like, cool, trying to be cool. Yeah, it's great. I'm going to run the ad. Okay, and so walked out. So I did run the ads, and unfortunately, I didn't realize now, if I'd have known what I know now, that they had already put me in a box as a Native American, Mexican American actor, and that unless there were Latino roles, they weren't going to read me for anything. So putting those ads in those trades was really going to be nothing, because there was very few stuff that was written anyway.
Oh.
Now what they do is there is stuff written, but then Ben Affleck plays it.
I don't know about that. It's not as bad.
Oh, sure it is. It is. I'm the SAG EEOC co-chair for years. We have made a list because it's really bad. You don't realize it. There's a cartoon named La Cucaracha. I don't know if you know that cartoon.
I mean, I've heard of it.
Yeah, that's my partner, one of my business partners, Lalo Lopez, also known as Lalo Alcaraz. I'm a silent partner in Pocho.com, which is that word I told you about.
Pocho, for people not on the note, Pocho means it's rotten.
Oh, or it means like it's what Mexicans call Mexican Americans, and it's a pejorative. It means we don't speak Spanish well. We're not Mexican, right? So anyway, where's that again? So we made a list. So Lalo and I, we realized that because this is exactly what happens. No, it's not that bad, and we realized it's bad. They can't see it though. I said they need empirical proof. So we made a list that is still current of how many times Latinos roles and also Native roles have been played by others. Lead roles only, not small roles, lead roles, because that's where the money is. That's where the careers are at.
From when to when? When did
From
you
the
go?
beginning of motion pictures till now.
Okay.
We also made a list of how many Latinos portrayed non-Latino lead roles. Our thinking is if they look like us, we look like them. The count now is 6,191 times others have played us to 97 us playing them. And of those 97, if you take Martin Sheen, because we count him, the Ferrer.
You count Martin Sheen? I don't know. You really shouldn't.
We count him. Because if we don't count him, the number's even worse. Because
Martin Sheen, I know. But his last Mexican, right?
No, Spanish.
No, his wife is Spanish.
No, he is Spanish.
He's half Spanish.
Yeah, Esteves is his last name.
But isn't his wife Spanish too?
No.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so that's why Emilio goes by Esteves, because that's Martin's real last name.
Yes, I knew that, but I don't know why.
His real name is Ramon Esteves. So if you the Jose Ferrer, Miguel Ferrer, the Sheens, if you can't take them out and just count one for each of those, it's 37.
Let me ask you this though: in the post J-Lo. Because this is me as a white person, as how I think, you know what I mean? If it's, pre J-Lo, it was like what you're saying. But after J-Lo,
Jack Black,
it's kind of cool.
No, Jack Black played Nacho Libre. Ben Affleck played Tony Mendez. Steve Lopez was played by Robert Downey Jr. Daniel Lugo was played by Mark Wahlberg. Catherine Zeta-Jones is playing Griselda Blanco, which is going to be coming out soon. No, it's not happening. But here's what happens. And it's hard for you to see it. Okay,
no, but I just thought it was getting better.
No, it's not getting better. Here's
Is it as bad as it was in the 30s,
worse.
40s, and 50s? How can it be worse?
It's worse. Look at the stars of the 50s. Cesar Romero, Ricardo Montalban, Anthony Quinn. Where's the three Mexicans now?
Well, we have Edward James Olmos, almost. We have Ruben Blades. We have
Mexicans.
No, but that's hard for us white people to go Mexicans.
But here's why.
Can't you just be Latin?
No, because here's why.
In our view,
no, because here's why. Here's what it does a tremendous disservice. Of the 58 million Latinos, 58 million in America, 46 million are Mexican American.
Yes.
We're the largest ones.
Yes.
So we're the ones that are the most underrepresented. Part of it is that we're a doormat culture. I've studied in New York, so I know Puerto Rican people and Cuban people very well. I lived in Miami also. They have a
lot of pride.
And they're very aggressive and assertive.
They are.
They stand up. We don't. We're doormats.
Why do you think that is?
Part of it is because I stand up. I've written articles in the LA Times.
Yeah. No, but I'm just wondering why
they're afraid.
They're afraid,
and they have this notion I hate to say it, that one day they're going to get accepted as being white. And it may happen to some of them, like Tony Romo is accepted as white, but he's not. He's Mexican-American. Romo is a Mexican name. Mm-hmm. So there are some of those people that are transcendent, mainly in sports. But in movies, you have to change your name. If you keep your name and they tag you as that, that is what you are from that point on, and you will never be anything but that. Till you can, like me, do your own project and try to break out of that. Mm-hmm. So I'm the SAG EEOC co-chair. If you don't believe me, USC Annenberg School of Communication has an annual report on the media. Now, it's horrible for women, too. It's horrible for all ethnic people. But the fact of the matter is Asians in the United States, in the industry, work more than Latinos, and we dwarf them in population. The fact of the matter is Puerto Ricans, it's a cultural thing. We're not the same. Just like Chinese and Japanese are not the same, and Koreans are not the same. We're not the same. We don't even, like, Puerto Rican people don't eat hot food, spicy food. Cuban people don't eat spicy food. That's part of that's Mexican food, spicy. It's because of the native influence from the native Indians that ate chili. The Spanish is different. Los cubanos hablan como así. Los puertorriqueños hablan como así. Los mexicanos hablan como así, más despacito, slower. So part of it, cultural, when the Puerto Ricans are like, they're talking like this and they're in your face, it's the New York thing, and like that. That turns Chicanos and Mexican people off. We don't like, I don't say that, we don't appreciate each other's. And I'm saying also for my culture too, it's not a one-way street, it's both ways. Yeah. I don't do that. Like when Jennifer Lopez went to play Selena, I supported it even though she can't say mother. It's mother, father, brother. Over here.
She's from Brooklyn, isn't she? Bronx or something?
Yeah, but if you know Selena, but Selena, she talked like this from Texas. She's from Texas. She talked like this, and no puedo hablar español muy bien, pero como así. So Texans to this day hate that movie because it's not real to them.
Yeah.
Because that, and see, so we can't say that we're all pan-Latino because we're not. Also, Cuban Americans are very right-wing. Mexican Americans are very left-wing.
But they're also Catholic, so I thought that they were Mexican Americans were more right wing.
No, like Mexican Americans voted, right? But they voted more for Hillary than for Trump.
This time around.
Every time they always vote.
Election?
They vote more Democrat than Republican.
Well, I didn't know that.
Always.
I thought they just became doing that.
No. Mexican Americans have always been the United.
The Bushes. I thought the Bushes. I mean,
no,
Jeb is married to. Is she Mexican?
Yes, but see, they made little inroads. But who's always been on the side of the Mexicans and the UFW and everything? The Democrats. Historically, so they're always going to be Democrat. Mexican Americans are about 67-70% Democrat, and always have been traditionally.
Well, a friend of mine was telling me that the word Chicano, which he says is obsolete, he says we don't really use Chicano anymore, and because he's Mexican, he's from Chihuahua, and he said that was why they got the Chicano name, right?
Well, Chicano comes from
Mexico, so they would call it
it comes
Chicanos that are Mexican that live in LA.
It comes from the word,
America.
but the original word, here's what it is.
Okay.
The Spaniards, we're the children of the rape.
Of the rape?
Yes. There were no Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, South Americans, Central Americans before the Spaniards came. They were all natives.
Okay.
They came, now, when the Pilgrims came, they brought women.
Yes.
The Spaniards didn't. Oh. That was on purpose.
Oh, because they wanted to mingle the race. Oh, I didn't realize that. And that was what, 18...
No. They started in the 1500s. Okay. So they then, and remember, these very macho Spanish culture and very macho native cultures, they're not going to mix willingly.
No.
So it was a conquest. Remember, they self-described conquistadores, which means conquerors.
Yes.
So they raped, pillaged, plundered. The children of the rape are the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans. You have other mixed bloods in there, like the Cubans had some black because it was a slave colony. But basically, any Latino is the child of a rape eventually if you go up high enough. This was not a willingness of the native women to the Spaniard men. There was at LACMA, there was a show, Las Casta paintings, and they showed these paintings from the era, and they showed how all these guys, the guys, because they married they had children with these native women, and their kids were dark, and they didn't like that. So they would try to find an albino to marry one of their sons, they go sale de atrás, to go backwards. So see, there's a lot of history here that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're the children of the rape. So there were, before the Spaniards came here, there